A man in distress loses his life in the shadow of the Capitol building. Police say after 2 hours of crisis intervention, the man agreed to get help at the hospital. But about 45 minutes into the trip at North Capitol and New York Avenue, police say he became agitated and attacked the woman firefighter paramedic next to him before jumping out of the ambulance.
Oftentimes, whenever an individual voluntarily decides that he or she wants to be transported, officers do not ride in the back of the ambulance with the individual and the paramedics, but we will follow behind the ambulance.
That officer called for backup and tried to subdue the man who ended up assaulting a second officer. Police say pepper spray was used, but did not work. The man ran into traffic and hid underneath a white box truck.
The individual then emerged from underneath the truck with a metallic object raised in his hand. The officer gave the individual multiple loud directions to drop the object.
That crisis intervention officer, a veteran of the force with 40 hours of intervention training, pulled the trigger of his service weapon, shooting and killing the man.
If you talk to somebody for 2 hours and they're in a crisis, then you put him in an unsecured ambulance and expect a different outcome, you're a complete failure.
Jay Brown, an activist with Community Shoulder, says this is why he's advocated for mental health services or a crisis center in the east end of town.
For an individual to have a mental health crisis on that side of town, and you put them in an ambulance and have to drive them through rush hour traffic where most people would have had a episode just through the road rage, and I expect for him to maintain his composure is just unacceptable by the powers that be.
Now, police would not tell us what that metal object was that man, they say, was wielding towards police officers. They would also not tell us whether or not he was searched, patted down before he was placed into that ambulance. That, we're told, is police policy. However, Chief Smith says all of that is still under investigation. We can tell you the officer who discharged his service weapon is on paid leave, as is part of police policy. We're live here in Northeast. Delia Gonzalez, WUSA 9.
Delia, let's hope they make this information public, because the whole idea for this crisis intervention team was to actually save lives in crisis and not have this kind of outcome. All right, thank you, Dee.
All right.